You're listening to the Kpopcast. We are a K-pop podcast. We review K-pop, the latest songs of K-pop. We provide recommends of what to listen to. We also talk about trends within the genre. I'm joined by my recurring show host. It's Supermatic, resident K-pop B-boy here in the building.
Hello. Thank you, Peter. What's up to all the listeners out there? How y'all doing? Hope you're having a good night. And, of course, I am here with DJ Peter Lowe, resident
Peter Lowe,
resident K-pop DJ here in the Bay Area. How are you doing, Peter?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking that. So for this episode, guys, we're going to be doing another weekly segment. We're going to take a deeper look into Taeyeon's Make Me Love You.
That's right. But before we get into Taeyeon, Peter, I gotta ask, what's the cream of the K-pop this week?
And we might not stay with that phrase. We might change that. But essentially, what are the top picks that we recommend you, our listeners, check out that might not be at the top of the charts? So for me, my top pick, I'm like cheating this week because if you listen to our last episode, we talked about it in the Seawolf Fairy episode with Tamar Herman. And when we were talking about Red Velvet's Seventh Day, Seventh Night, or One of These Nights, I got hella emo. As I was editing that episode, I was like, wow, this is a really good song. So even though it's an old song, it came out in 2014, 2015 or something?
Around there, yeah.
I am really feeling it. And in the past, we've reviewed Red Velvet songs. And I think we said at the time, man, everyone loves Red Velvet for the red aspect of the song. So Red Velvet being the pop and the smooth. So the pop hits and the ballads.
Yes.
And who actually cares about the Velvet ballads, right?
Yep.
But I really like the ballads now. And so that's why it made a top pick for me, because for me, it's wow, I'm actually liking the ballads for once. As we reviewed in the Seawolf Fairy episode, we learned from Tamara that it has meaning in terms of what it meant to respond to the Seawolf Fairy incident, but also culturally in terms of the fairy tale that it references. So if you're not familiar, there's this Korean fairy tale about a deity. He has a daughter, and this daughter, looks across the universe outside her window, and she sees this hot boy, this hot farm boy who probably has 9 rows of abs or whatever. I'm only guessing. That's probably not in the fairy tale. But anyway, she sees a guy and she falls in love with him. And the guy, falls in love with her. And as they fall in love with each other, they start to neglect in their duties. The guy neglects taking care of his farm animals. The daughter of this god in the universe doesn't continue job weaving. And so Big Papa God Universe says, hey, you know what? You kids gotta do your job. And he says, you can only be together. And this is after they've gotten married. You can only be together for one night for the 7th day on the 7th month.
Imagine that. You're married to someone, but you can only be with them one night a year.
Yeah, exactly. So the fairy tale is that on that day, that night, all the crows and the magpies, they form a bridge across the Milky Way. And these two lovers, they walk and they meet. And that's why, that's the fairy tale. Hearing both that fairy tale and the Seawolf Fairy response, you hear it in the song. A slight twist on my top pick, I like the Joe Millionaire version of this. Joe Millionaire, he's a produces for a wide variety of different musicians and artists, but he actually produced other big SM hits like CBX's or EXO CBX's Hey Mama.
Oh, okay.
So this is a serious, SM producer. And Joe Millionaire, his version of the song adds a lot more of the lower ranges. It adds that deeper bass.
Oh.
So it becomes more of a jazzy R&B song. And I just love that mood. And so it's just thick and heavy for me. So check it out. It's Red Velvet's One of These Nights, the Joe Millionaire version.
꿈속이라도 괜찮으니까
hits me right in the feels.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. That's definitely a slightly older hit, but for people who may not be familiar with it, definitely worth it checking out. I mean, I'll vouch for it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for me, one of my top picks is actually a new hit from a group that recently came back, a guy group. Funny enough, both my top picks are from boy groups that are down a member, because I did not realize that Teen Top lost a member between their last comeback and this one.
Oh, I hadn't even realized that either.
But yeah, my first top pick is the newest from Teen Top, and it's a song called Love Is. And man, the chorus is so easy to get stuck in your head once you hear it. I mean, they say it in the first line of the song. You hear the piano, and then you just hear that awesome vocal from the leader. Just like, I can't hit the high note, but he basically says love is gone away. And right from there, the bass kicks in, and then they've got the heavy synths and the kicks, and this is just a straight up dance track. And honestly, I love it. Like, even though the song, you look at the lyrics and the content, it's more emotional because it's talking about losing a love that you really valued. The beat of it, you can't help but want to like bob your head or dance or something. Like, it is a dance track, which is a nice juxtaposition against that emotional content of the lyrics.
Yeah, I think what prevented me from making that song a top pick for me this week was that, to me, it felt very 2010.
Yeah.
But what's so funny is that I'm like, didn't they make other stuff like this before? They didn't exactly.
Well, not exactly, yeah.
What it was I was getting it confused with all the K-pop remixes that were coming out around that time. And there were Teen Top remixes which sounded just like this song. So,
well, who knows? Maybe they went back, they were looking at their other work, and they were like, hey, all these remixes came out of our old stuff. Let's embrace it. Yeah.
I mean, that could be it. But to me, it felt just a little... okay, this is very basic electro house, so that's why I get what you're saying, Matt. Like, it's a good, beat, but like I was like, it's okay.
Well, I think what made it a top pick for me, I mean, just the song alone, I could definitely see how it's easy to get lost in that general umbrella of like EDM, like high tempo dance tracks.
Well, it was very basic 4 on the floor, Yeah.
But when they came out with the choreography video and I saw the dance practice, like I was hooked. Just seeing like the intricacies of all the movement that they hit and all the parts of the music and the beats that they're hitting with the choreography. Like, I felt like they probably watched a lot of urban choreography for inspiration.
I definitely see that in the choreo.
Like, I wasn't able to find out who exactly was their choreographer because that information is not anywhere online I could find. But just looking at it, I could definitely see influences from like other choreographers that have worked with other K-pop groups, such as Keone Madrid, who has done GOT7 and BTS. There's the Kinjas, there's Brian Puspos and Ian Eastwood, who have worked with SM artists. So it's somewhere in between, like just in that vein. So good job to Teen Top. I mean, I'm sorry you guys lost a member, whatever, but great comeback.
Fighting.
Yes.
Okay, well, good pick, Matt. Even though I thought it was mediocre. But my other topic, and sorry guys, for this episode I'm just doing like throwbacks. This wasn't quite a deep throwback, but it's like a few weeks old. It's highlights Plz Don't Be Sad. And honestly, when this song first came out, we were actually looking at reviewing it. And we just didn't get the opportunity to, just given the scheduling for Kpopcast. We didn't, have the right time. But I've been playing this song in my DJ sets, on Big B Radio or whenever I play K-pop, and I love it because it's such a happy, fast song. But mainly, like, I was listening to straight the instrumental version. Like, just the instrumental version I love because it's a fast-paced song that has a very basic but very complimentary guitar chords combined with the fast acoustic beat with the, I don't even know how to describe the synths, but it almost sounds like a voice, that bow bow bow. And it had me smiling and feeling good. And I could not be sad listening to this song. if you are listening to this song for the first time, you can quite frankly ignore the music video and you can really ignore the lyrics. The only thing I got from the music video was right at the bridge of the song where the guy is playing the arcade game.
Yeah.
And then like he's playing the arcade game and then all of a sudden the bridge hits. The light spotlights down on him and then he gets lifted vertically.
Oh.
And to me, like, that's exactly how I feel whenever I get play of the game, in Overwatch. It's like, yes, I have that exact same reaction, The lyrics, though, I mean, they're not bad. If you're a fangirl, this is the stuff you want to hear. It's like, hey, girl, don't be sad. Anything that's making you feel sad, I'll harbor and bear that for you. So tell me what's making you feel sad. And I love you when you're smiling, and you look so beautiful when you smile. In fact, I even said something somewhat similar to that, although a lot more poetic, when I proposed to my wife. So it's got a little bit of that, but anyway, the lyrics I thought were still okay.
Pro tip for everybody out there.
Yeah, so it's a happy song, and happy vibes only. So please don't feel sad.
And just on that note, for any listeners who may not be familiar exactly with who Highlight are, some of you might have heard of them under their previous name, which is Beast or Batoost, B2ST. So those of you who are familiar with Beast, if you weren't sure whether or not they're still around, technically they are, just under a different name, Highlight. So feel free to check that out.
It's a dig on one of their members who's
yeah,
no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hate the robes that they wear in this, but whatever.
Oh.
It's still a good song. Just don't watch the music video.
Pro tip from Peter Lowe. Okay. For my other top pick, one that I believe like you and I were definitely in unison with, the recent comeback from Winner. They actually came out with 2 songs, but the one we're feeling more is Really, Really. And pun intended, I really, really like this song.
Yeah, we're really, really feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this tropical dance hall genre is making a comeback.
Yep.
Also like co-ed, right? Because like in the music video of the song, we see the guys dance with all these different girls of different ethnicities. Yes, I might add, but like co-ed is in for K-pop, and let's just give that applaud, Matt. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Clap. Good job incorporating boys with girls in K-pop. Yes. Yeah, I mean, boy groups need girls and girl groups need guys. I just want to say.
Yeah, definitely. I see it as like what I believe you pointed out is how that whole dance hall sound seems to really be taking an influence, because I mean you listen to this and it sounds like something similar to what Card has been doing lately.
Yeah, both their hits.
Yes, definitely with Onana and Don't Recall, and then also what was that other song you listed?
It was
7 O'Clock
by Echo.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. And the other one on top of that, and this song I love, because before you just came here to record today, I was watching Jay Park music videos. Guys, don't judge, but it was Jay Park's "Me Like Ya."
Oh, I definitely know that song.
Right, and in my DJ set, maybe I'll make a mixtape just for the subgenre. But it's like, I feel like tropical dancehall, it's grooving, and people, millennials, Gen Z, seems to like it.
Definitely. I mean, it's one of those songs here that goes in with dance hall vibe where you get up and you just groove. Like when you hear people say, "Oh, get up and dance," you can think of different styles. Whereas with this particular one, songs like "Really, Really," Card's "Onana," "Don't Recall," "Me Like Ya," it's like you get up and it's more of like a grooving where you just kind of like sway your body.
Well, it's mid-tempo, and to get a little more technical, as a DJ, you play songs at different tempos, right?
Yep.
Dance hall is usually around 110 beats per minute, usually around there. It's also Moombahton is also around that same tempo.
Yep.
And that's right between the faster 120 pop EDM hits that you get, as well as the slower hip hop, which would be slower, right? So it's right in between. It's in that Goldilocks zone.
Yep.
So.
And I just gotta say, like, Winner, funny enough, we covered them not too long ago on one of our older episodes, because there was that whole troubling time that they went through where they are also down a member, as I referenced earlier.
Yeah.
Shouts outs and still supporting of Taeyeon.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's doing okay.
Yeah.
But that said, good job to Winner and major respect to them for still pulling through and not just having a comeback, but having a pretty strong comeback, it looks like, because the offset of really, really compared to Full is awesome and really, really just seems to be successful hits so far. I mean, there's different parts of the song that can get stuck in your head, different phrases you can pick out, such as right before the chorus when I believe it's Minho who goes na jua hai, and then it breaks down into the chorus. This is just a fun song overall.
Yeah, if you guys couldn't tell, this was really close to being the top pick for the
yes.
week. But what I thought was really funny is that they have the lowrider hydraulics in the music video. And it's like, you're not going to get that in Korea unless it's YG. You know, it's like Simon and Martina of Eat Your Kimchi fame. They once had a skit like, yo, I'm gangsta, son. Like, where's the hood at? And like, it's like, well, the only hood is the YG building over there.
Right.
So I mean, we saw it with Big Bang and other stuff.
Exactly.
Like, they're the only label that's actually doing, or maybe appropriating hood.
On that note, I was watching JRE, KML, his reaction to Winner's Really Really video not too long ago, and when they got to that lowrider part, he made the same comment. He was like, is that the lowrider from Big Bang's Bang Bang Bang? So, and I mean, it figures because they're both YG, so.
Yeah.
But one last one I do want to make just about this song, and also on your note with the whole co-ed idea of like dancing and performing, there's actually two different videos of this. There's the dance practice where it's Winner with their backup dancers in the studio, but then there's another video which I think is like the choreography / performance video, but it doesn't actually have Winner in it. It's got the song, but it's got all the ladies from the music video dancing more of like their urban dance gear, and it spotlights them. So they actually have their own different choreo compared to the MV. Yeah. So good job to that for them putting out a separate video to highlight the ladies, the backup dancers.
Yeah. I mean, that's a topic for another time. Like, you know, how do you use backup dancers well? Yep. You know, how much do they become a feature or an asset? But let's move on to the topic. I mean, what everyone is actually here for this episode. It's funny because when we were trying to prep for this episode, we're like, okay, what is it that we really want to talk about? And it was hard, right? I mean, so many great hits coming out. So again, it's kudos to Taeyeon, or I should say Yeon, for coming out on top. I looked at, as we were looking at it, I kind of looked at it with the same sort of like judging paradigm that you use for ballroom dancing. You look for all the imperfections and all the other stuff, and whoever is the most perfect, you have to put on top. And I wasn't looking to put Taeyeon on top, but as I was looking at all the other hits, I was like, well, you know, this song is okay, but Taeyeon is perfect against all these other ones in these different ways. So that's why it makes it for our Daebak or Not review section.
Make me kiss you, not make me kiss you. Make me touch you, not make me touch you. Make me want you, not make me want you. Can't kiss you to touch you, want you. Make me love you.
Okay, so let's kick this off. So what actually happens in this music video, Silvermatic?
So we see Taeyeon in a bunch of really nice, like simple, basic, but really aesthetically pleasing settings. Yeah. We see her in different rooms. There's a scene where she's in a very nicely laid out flower bed. Yeah. We see her in a living room. We see her in kind of this interesting hall with like doors and then lights coming in and out. It's a visually stimulating video to watch, but really a lot of it is just close-ups of Taeyeon just being Taeyeon, being her
that's
angelic
really
self
it.
and singing.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some like, you know, fan theory speculations like, oh, well, maybe, you know, because she's with these roses or she has these flowers on her face, that this is a sign of her actually falling in love, and opening into this room is her opening up her love or looking into it and then sharing it and feeling more comfortable. I think that's plausible, but honestly, and I felt the same way as we looked at Taeyeon's other song.
Was it Fine or I Got Love?
I Got Love.
I Got Love.
Taeyeon in love, man. But Taeyeon's I Got Love, it's really just to spotlight Taeyeon's beauty, right? When I watched this, like, I felt like, you know, when you're in like film school or you're taking a photography class or something, and like you get an assignment, like you have to focus on like one feature or like one new technique that you learned. I felt like that technique was like the teacher or the professor was like, okay, you've learned lighting. Make sure you like record a video that goes through all these different ways of lighting, right? And we saw Taeyeon and like backlighting. So we have a silhouette lighting, we have front lighting, we have natural daylight lighting, we have side lighting, we have interior lighting, outdoor lighting, we have lighting off of a reflection in rainbow lighting on Taeyeon. So I feel like, honestly, when I was watching it, that's what I felt like. It was like, someone really likes playing around with lighting on Taeyeon. And it was done, in my opinion, just to show Taeyeon's more effeminate or feminine side in a very more delicate, cute. All the recently releases we've seen from Taeyeon, it's all these different sides of her.
Yeah.
And this one was doing a sub-category where we see Taeyeon giving us all these different cute looks that are the more delicate, feminine, cute looks.
Yeah. Like, an interesting contrast compared to I Got Love, where she comes out fierce and she's, like, determined and flat out telling you, like, oh, I'm drawing you in, boy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like this one, she's more like, oh, like, make me love you, like, as he said, like, cute and adorable, like, delicate.
Yeah, indeed. As you were saying earlier, Matt, like, this looks like it's just taking place in just one house. It kind of reminds me of like the turn of the century housing, but with the floor plan of these like Roman or Greek baths. So like these very classic, you know, floor plans that you get from like, you know, the Roman era, quite frankly. I think they only did that just because they were trying to get the right shots. So I don't know. That was just something that I noticed in terms of architecture when I was trying to look for meaning, but I didn't see anything there. What did you think of the song? I mean, like, how would you rate the audio portion of this?
So the song, audio-wise, is probably like the part of it that I really do enjoy the most. I mean, for anyone who's listened to the Kpopcast before, we'll put it out there. I am a huge Taeyeon fan. She's pretty much like my queen, my favorite in all of K-pop. But that aside, because I mean...
Put that aside, guys.
Yes, just when it comes to listening to this song, it was really interesting for me because when I first heard it, the beat and just drawing everything in and even the way that they arranged, like Taeyeon's vocal delivery and everything, I actually found myself thinking along the same lines as a review I read online of Nick of the Bias List.
Oh, dude, Nick. Okay, yeah.
So for me, it's funny because when I was listening to this, I was like, you know, this sounds really, really close to something you would generally hear on like American radio, like the way that the beat plays. And specifically, when I was thinking about the arrangement of the song, like the way that the melodies all come together, it sounds like something that Ellie Goulding would sing.
I was going to say Alicia Keys or someone who does more of these, like, or even, you know, Katy Perry's Roar, right? I mean, these other songs like, you know, belting, I am woman, and let me build on this ballad.
Interesting.
That's what I heard from it, but go on, Matt.
Well, because for me, what the reason why I thought of Ellie Goulding is because the way that Taeyeon is delivers the lines, like saying, you know, make me love you, like her runs and stuff, and back against the instrumental, it gave me vibes of Ellie Goulding's Love Me Like You Do, which she did for the 50 Shades soundtrack, as well as her other song, I can't remember it right now. Oh, Anything Can Happen. Like, if anyone's not familiar, you can go ahead and check out those two songs if you like, and then compare that to Taeyeon's Make Me Love You, and you'll probably be able to hear what I'm talking about in terms of similarities. Because Nick of the Bias List, when I was reading his review, he said, very reminiscent of Ellie Goulding, and I was like, Nick agrees with me. Or we were along that same train of thought, so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, shout out to the Bias List. In terms of how you would rate it, in terms of a 1 to 5 score, 5 being highest, how would you rate the song, the audio?
I wanted to give it a 4, but the more I listened to it, the more I realized that it felt like they were kind of holding Taeyeon back a little vocally, because when I realized that she doesn't have her usual signature, like one high note that she usually belts out, I was like, oh, well, she still does a good job, but
I feel
it
like
doesn't give that
I'm
punch.
still hearing a high note, even if there wasn't a high note in the song. Like I'm just imagining it, like the way she belts her high notes from all her other songs. I feel like you can just drop that into this one and it would work.
Nah, that conditioning, because you're so used to it.
I know, right?
Yeah, but that said, I didn't give it quite a 4. I gave it a really strong 3.9.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I have to give it a 4.
Really?
Yeah. I wasn't looking to give it the score, guys. Like, I'm not a Taeyeon fan. I'm not a Zone. And it's almost out of reluctance that we reviewed this episode, because I was critically looking at like, okay, you know, is this song actually better than this song? I'm like, no, Taeyeon's song is actually better than all these other ones that we did for our Cream of the K-pop. And I think with this song, it builds on itself in a very strong, powerful way. Like, we're showing an image of a girl feeling very feminine, very delicate, but it's a very strong, loud, booming way to build on that with the acoustic anthem percussion and the chords, accompanying chords. So it just builds on it, and there's no other way. I can't imagine them doing it any better.
Okay.
So that's why I have to give it a 4. And maybe it could be better if they had one of those belching high notes, but I've just become so accustomed that maybe I'm automatically incorporating that into it in my playback, in my internal mental playback of the song. So that's a strong 4 for me. I don't give out 4s lightly.
Yeah,
and I wasn't even looking to give the song a 4.
That's surprising for me.
I didn't even want to review Taeyeon for like another episode again for Daebak or not, but here we are.
Yep. Well, I mean, she is coming out with quite a few songs lately, so.
So good job. I mean, good job, producer. Good job, Taeyeon, for being able to have that versatility and presenting yourself in these ways. So
yeah, definitely.
Okay. So the concept is another way that we review our songs. The concept being what, Matt?
The concept is where we go ahead and we take a look at the music video, what we thought of it, what the story was, if there is one, the whole idea behind the song, how it all meshes together, pretty much just what the visual presentation of the song is. Because, of course, there's a song which you hear, but then there's also what you see.
I mean, you know, the whole eye candy, and there's a lot entailed in the eye candy. We totally acknowledge that the concept means a lot of things.
Yes.
All right. But in terms of the concept, how would you rate this song?
So I ended up debating with myself whether I wanted to give this like a very high 3-ish, almost a 4, or just somewhere in that middle ground. Because again, as we prefaced, it's a fairly simple music video compared to what a lot of other K-pop comes out with. That said, of course, all the different ways of lighting that you went through, which I give them a lot of credit for, because they found so many different ways to use lighting to have different ways of highlighting Taeyeon and her just looking beautiful in this video like she always does. I give it a pretty solid 3.75 because like for me, when it comes to something I'm going to give a 4, it's got to be a really dope music video. There's got to be a concept, a story, a storyline, something that just like really draws you in and has you hooked from beginning to end. Like you're just like, there's almost no room where you just like, you can pause, do something else, and then come back to the song.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's transfixing, and you've got to maintain that gaze throughout. So that's a good point, Matt.
And I mean, I'm surprised I'm even saying that, considering that this is Taeyeon, because usually when it comes to Taeyeon, no matter what, my eyes will be glued to the screen. But I found myself at times, like even if I'm watching or I'm listening to this song, I'll pull up the video on YouTube, but then I'll go and do something else. Like I'm not intent on paying attention to the video so much as I just want to hear the song. So that's why when I consider that element, the concept gets a lower score than the song does for me. Because when I'm comparing the two, the song is stronger.
Yeah. Okay. Fair assessment. I guess I'm going to go just a little lower than you, Matt. I guess I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. And that's not bad, guys. That's like a Daebak like thumbs up, right? Like what would have completed it? Give me fuller... You know, for those who work in like public relations in the tech field, there's this thing as like the Gartner Magic Quadrant, and it's like, you know, this analyst firm describes who's really good based off of these different qualities. What this lacks is completeness of vision. So it delivers, it has the ability to execute in terms of what we were saying earlier with this subgenre of delicate femininity. I like that. I mean, in terms of how they present that. The auteur, or the author style of filmmaking for this music video, in terms of delivering that concept, was right on. Like, you can't do any better in terms of conveying or feeling that delicacy and that femininity in the concept. But what's missing in the vision is something, maybe I'm like too highbrow, making too much highbrow out of kitsch, but I think I would have liked this more if there was something beyond that. If it was trying to say something about it. Maybe it's just that when it comes to all the colors of the rainbow, and there are the more kitschy things that I like for just being stupid, such as like AOA's.
Oh, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Like, I love that song because it's so dumb and stupid, and it's got this dance to it. And it's that flavor of Aegyo that I happen to love and I rate highly. But this probably executes on that feeling and vision more. But because it's not my preferred flavor, I need something a little more intellectually stimulating to go with it, I think. So that's why it's a 3.5 and not a 4 or a 5. So if they said something, or if they gave me a story, I think I would feel more drawn to it.
Yeah.
That would have brought it up higher for me.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you there, Peter.
Yeah. So this week, a lot of great stuff came out. Taeyeon, like, imagine like you're in this Coliseum, right? And all these different K-pop groups are coming into the Coliseum. Maybe some are armed with like morning stars, maybe a trident, or sword and a shield, right?
Yep.
And they all come in, and then like a battle ensues. Like, you can imagine this pile of like corpses and dead bodies, and then at the top of that pile you have Taeyeon, this delicate feminine girl with flowers, right? At the top of that pile of corpses, right? So even though she came out on top, and she's the winner of the Coliseum, is it Daebak or not? And Daebak or not is our final concluding score, if this is good or bad. So is it Daebak, Matt?
Well, for me it is. I mean, even though the video didn't give me as much as I would have liked, along those same thoughts that you did, this song is great. I've had it on repeat. It's been what people will call an earworm for me. Like, when it comes to everything that we were talking about to review this whole time, the two main earworms I've had were this song, along with Winners, really, really. So. Yeah.
For me, this is actually the strongest earworm out of all these. And it's so funny because I don't even like this genre of like belting ballads. I really don't. It's not like, if you give me a pick of songs, right, like, so as a DJ, right, you've got to figure out what songs you're going to play tonight, or when the mood strikes you, you're going to be like, I'm going to pull up this ingredient, this song, and I'm going to insert it, right? It's not the spice I would throw onto the dance floor. And not because it's not even a dance song. It's just like, if I had to pick like the ingredients to throw into my recipe, I wouldn't pick it because I just don't like that flavor. But this is like the saffron of K-pop, man. And like, I would have loved Winners really, really a lot more. Like, that's the sort of ingredient I play with a lot more. But Taeyeon delivered.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's Daebak for DJ Pilo.
And make me love you. Make me kiss you. Now make me kiss you. Make me touch you. Now make me touch you. Make me want you. Make me want you. Can kiss you to touch you. Want you. Make me love you. Make me love. Make me love you. Make me love you. Make me love you. Make me love you.
All right, so you've listened to the Kpopcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Where can people find us online, Supermatic?
So you can find us on Twitter at the Kpopcast, THE, and then Kpopcast. And that is our official Twitter account.
We just made it like the other day. So
2 days ago.
Yeah, Angie was telling me like, you guys should probably get your own Twitter. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. So yeah,
we can shouts out to Angie Mills.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find us there on Twitter, as well as each of us individually. I'm at Supermatic, SOUPERMATIC.
And I'm at DJ Peter Lowe. Guys, I've been working on like a banger clanger mixtape I've been meaning to put out. I've noticed that people have been searching my Facebook page. I'm like, they're probably looking for my mixes, and I haven't put any mixes out lately. So I'm going to put that out. Just know it's coming.
Yep. Feel free to join the conversation with us. Like, let us know what you thought about these songs or anything else we covered on the show. You can tweet at us at the Kpopcast or each of our individual handles, as well as hashtag
Kpopcast. You know, in conclusion, I'm not sure if Taeyeon's "Make Me Love You" was about like, you will love me, you will touch me, you will kiss me. Like, I don't know if that was command or it's like, or if it's like this really pervy like, oh, like, you know, I'm a objectified object for the male gaze to do this, or if it was Taeyeon's plea to make you change as a human being. It's funny because not too long ago I saw this video about how to get out of this friend zone, and what was interesting to me, it's like, well, you know what, to get out of the friend zone, it's not changing her, it's changing your own mentality.
Ooh.
How are you going to treat the girl who you treat as your friend versus those who you want to seduce? So maybe Taeyeon was like, seduce me, boy. Seduce me. And with that, good night, everybody.
Yep. Take care. Until next time.